Truck off.
Tom Cruise, roll out. You're watching or listening to We Got Your 6 at 6 Patriot Playtime. We are We the People, the People's Patriot Project.
For a place to put your skill set, your thoughts, and ideas, or want to help continue the mission, you have come to the right place. We are the People's Patriot Project, and we are the shock and awe when it comes to meeting the needs of our veterans and first responders. We are dealing with a new enemy in today's world where the wounds are not always seen. We want you to be a part of this mission in saving lives and making a difference. Welcome to We Got Your 6 at 6 Patriot Playtime. Here's the WeP3 Team bringing you today's best heroes hits in the boots on the ground organizations that are saving lives. And as always, Patriot Pride.
Left, your left, hey. Left, right, your left. You got it.
Truck off.
Good evening. This is Andrea Eichmann with the People's Patriot Project. We are here bringing you our weekly show / podcast called We Got Your 6 at 6 Patriot Playtime. Every week we bring you a guest and a lot of times a new musician when we share all the good and sometimes not always so good things happening in our world. Tonight is going to be an amazing discussion, probably encompassing all of that. Once again, you guys, we're going to throw out a big heck yeah to Bobby and Peggy Kretzinger with Operation Texas Strong. They just keep on rolling. Great job, you guys. It is the 4th of June, 2023. We have some amazing guests to share with you this week. We got this super guest called Michael Madsen. He's here with, can I say this right? Oh my gosh, guys, I might have to correct me. I typed it as Foxhole Internet Radio Network. Seems like a lot of letters. But we've been getting to know Michael for some time now, and I can't wait. This is going to be an awesome conversation. We do have a repeat musician. This guy, we just can't shake him. Actually, he's shaking. He's moving right now. We got Tim Newton here, and he has Justin Silkwood along from his band, and I think we get to hear about some new stuff. So it's going to be a very cool show tonight. Stick with us. Sorry, it's a dog collar. Before we get started this week, we do ask that you take off your hats, stand if you can, and cover your heart. Join us, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag, of the United States of America. And to the republic, for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sometimes that's amen. Sometimes that's hallelujah. Whoop, whoop.
What? I gotta say, this is. You guys were all on the bench. Sorry, none of you guys were even supposed to be here. I don't know why you're here. And then I want to tell our world how amazing the network is, the WeP3 network, because we're kind of at the place now. We're booked out until August. Great stuff. Excited about it. And we actually had different guests planned for tonight. And And last minute, I think it was Tuesday night, I reached out to Mike and I said, Mike, we had a cancellation. Can you come on? And we had another musician on ready to go. And something came up in his world today about an hour ago. And because of the relationships that have been built, I speed dialed Timmy and said, hey, Mr. Newton, can we be honored with your presence tonight? And made it all work. I am so excited. This is, I actually got the chill bumps just because the network lives. Tim and I were talking before Mr. Madsen came on, and we're talking about how, we start talking about names and who's in the world and what's working where and how it's all coming together. And he feels this calling down to the southern states. He's already southern. I don't even know what he's whining about the
A lot of people do not consider Missouri southern, though. And I'm going to tell you what, we have winter here, all right? And it sucks.
It's way south of us. Way south of us.
That's practically Yankee, man.
See, John lives in Louisiana. He knows.
Well, he's super way south. I didn't even know there was anything south of New Orleans, and I'm the social studies teacher. I didn't realize there was anything south of New Orleans, but apparently half their state is still south of yet. That's where Jonathan lives.
The best food parts of our state are south of New Orleans. That's where all the good food comes from.
Well, welcome everybody and thanks for coming here and thanks for being available. This
No
is
problem, man.
Stuff.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
A real quick shout out. We should say congratulations to the Eichmann family. They for sure shut the door on one more. Someone else opened the door to their youngest, and Miss Faith Eichmann, no longer Eichmann. Miss Faith has been married off this weekend. Congratulations. It's someone else's responsibility, Andrew.
A little hug and a little "I'll kill you if you don't do well" as he dropped me off at my seat was appropriate, I think. That was from me. From her dad came a, hey, it ain't no easy trail, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, I do happen to know the family a little bit, so it is not probably the easiest trail to path.
Oh, you're so lucky she's already on her honeymoon and not listening to us, I'm sure.
Derek Iozio, good to see you, brother. Jeremy Daniels, good to see you. Mr. Cook, it's always awesome to see you. Look at the network just blowing up and seeing everyone pop in here. Mr. Crochet, what's in the news, brother?
Well, coming up on June 6th, we'll get the chance to remember all the great and not so great details of D-Day. It's the anniversary. So I'm doing a little piece on D-Day this week. So on the morning of June 6th, American troops and Allied forces landed on the beaches of Normandy, France, in an invasion codenamed Operation Overlord, which began the liberation of France. Ultimately, many other areas of Europe from Hitler's Nazi regime. The day is known as D-Day. It was strategically planned landing of 156,000 British, Canadian, and American troops at 6:30 a.m. on 5 different beaches of Normandy. And that landing was codenamed Operation Neptune. Early in the morning, June 6, 24,000 airborne troops were also dropped in the battle by parachute.
Oh.
Good? Oh, sorry.
Now, whenever you say airborne, if you're in the Airborne Brotherhood, you have to respond back with, ugh.
Early in the morning, June 6th, 24,000 airborne.
Huh?
Troops were
Now
dropped
you're
into battle by
catching on.
parachute in order to close exits and overtake bridges, slowing the advancement of the Nazi reinforcements. Troops entering the beaches by land and sea were met with Hitler's Atlantic Wall, which was 2,400 miles of bunkers, landmines, beach obstacles, metal tripods, barbed wire, wooden stakes. We've pretty much all seen the photos of that day that were established in anticipation of a French coast invasion. The Nazis planted 4 million landmines along the Normandy beaches. Planning for the invasion of German-occupied France began in 1942. In an attempt to mislead the Germans and maintain the secrecy of the details of D-Day invasion, the Allies conducted a military deception codenamed Operation Bodyguard, which included fake radio transmissions, double agents, a phantom army that was designed of balloons that were made to look like tanks, and it was commanded by the American General George Patton, which demanded so much attention and had such great respect from the German military and Hitler that during the invasion of D-Day, Hitler refused to send reinforcements away from this other area because he was certain that Patton was going to be attacking the next day. And so reinforcements weren't sent because they were waiting on a battle that was never going to happen. Pretty awesome story if you get a chance to read about it. It's quite amazing. June 5th was originally chosen as D-Day due to predictions of weather and high tide based on the phase of the moon and all that. They had some bad weather conditions that ultimately interfered with the established plans, and D-Day was moved to June 6th. Ultimately, over 4,400 identified soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Coast Guardsmen died on D-Day, with estimated 5,000 or more lost at sea in air battles and otherwise were not identified. Their sacrifice and the valiant efforts of all the troops turned the tide of the war that day. Interesting fact that I just found out doing a little research on this is Brigadier General Theodore Roosevelt Jr., the son of President Theodore Roosevelt, was the oldest soldier to land on the beaches of Normandy at age 56. And he was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor for his heroic actions at Utah Beach that day. Another interesting fact is that the landing craft that were taking the troops to the beaches that day and the equipment, they were built in New Orleans.
One of my, I don't know, it's my favorite. It's not my favorite photo to show, but it helps bring so much understanding a little bit, because I think people generally think that when people go into combat, you've got these old stoic soldiers full of wisdom and all the knowledge that they need to, do what they're doing. And one of my favorite pictures to show students is there's several photos that are showing the boats as they're getting ready to beach, and the age of the young men. And sorry, we're going to say young men because it's only young men at that time. Not that women didn't have a place in the military, but for combat related incidences and campaigns, it was just strictly female. And it looks like a boat full of 12-year-olds. Of course, they're not 12. I mean, they ranged from age 16 at that time, 16 to roughly 24. But those are what we threw at the front lines when we were going into campaigns. That's what our privates to specialists are. That's the age. And it's just the lives, the world, the families that were changed to accommodate world peace, to accommodate what we're getting done. And the truth of the matter is, our police officers in our country are in the same, pardon the pun, in the same boat, but they're on the front lines. And the ones that are on the front lines are typically the young ones. And those are the ones that we're losing on the daily. And so remember the amazing resources that we are losing to be part and having peace in this country and for the most part, the world. and it's on the shoulders and the backs of the young men and women who have chosen to serve. And that's just my little reminder. I wish I'd had the witness to pull up that picture just to show the youngness in those pictures. But thanks for sharing, Jonathan.
Thank you.
I'm stalling in my brain because I don't know the next step. Is that okay? Can we have that moment? Justin, what have you guys been up to lately?
Tim, take her away.
We just released a single, the first, and we've been working our butts off, practicing, trying to get everything around, because we got a tour coming up in August. We're going to be out on the East Coast.
What kind of tour is this going to be? I mean,
we're going to go out there and we're going to play our music, bring our brand out to the East Coast. We got some pretty cool stuff lined out. We got one of the main ones I'm really excited about is Veterans Freedom Festival out in South Carolina. That's going to be August 12th in Westminster, South Carolina, and it's free for anyone that wants to come out to it.
So if you are interested, and I just kind of given the background, we met Tim and Justin. Well, it's been a good chunk of a year at least. And then we happened to invite them to come down to a little event we did down in Nashville called the WeP3 Nashville Takeover, the 2022 rendition. These guys, what would you say your genre of music is?
Honestly, I would rope us right into like modern country. Probably a little we lean pretty heavy on the Southern rock end of that. But, probably the closest thing you can relate us to, if any, right now in the circuit, would probably be Brantley Gilbert, just with the harder style that we typically bring. Yeah.
Well, and you like using the nomenclature. You like to use the nomenclature.
Outlaw country.
Outlaw
country.
Well, we kind of live that life a little bit, but
I used to have a country station called Carter Country, and the model that we hired to do the logo, and I don't know how I can get you the logo to throw it up there. The station has since been turned off. It was a couple of years before COVID. It kind of died out, but we used to jokingly call her Shirlene, and that's where Outlaw Country came from the Archer series. And I'll see if I can get the picture to you, Mark. If you could put it up, she looks like Charlene. She's got the red hair and the cut off blue jean shorts and everything. Yeah, it was pretty funny. Hey, Tim, I was going to ask you. I just looked you up over here on YouTube. You've got 2 songs, "Country Girl" and "Man in Nashville."
Yep, that's right.
On your YouTube channel. Do you mind if I put those on one of the stations I own? Is called Valkyrie Radio.
Oh, absolutely. Go ahead.
If I pull those 2 songs and put them into the playlist. And then,
absolutely.
Justin, I imagine you're a performer as well, I guess, when we get over and talk to you. But I'm going to go ahead and be working on that. And I'm in the studio right now, so I can kind of be doing that as you guys are talking. I'll still be listening. But I'm going to go ahead and pull those 2 songs and get the metadata set up and get it into our rotation on our playlist, okay?
Fantastic.
Michael, I'm proverbially putting you in a headlock right now, just so you know. This is a WeP3 Radio ground, and I think we're going to talk about this, aren't we?
And I would love to be putting it on WeP3 Radio. There's this big, huge, bearded, bifocal wearing guy that is just slow to produce this music playlist so that I can hit the active button on WeP3 Radio.
We'll talk more about that.
We'd love for everybody to put it everywhere.
Yeah. Well, we'll have WeP3 Radio up. I'm sure we'll have it up by this month. And
awesome.
Obviously, of course, I'll already have the information then in your folder, and I'll be able to load it up as well, Mark.
So perfect. No, it's good. It's good.
Yeah,
I just have to mention Tim is the first person, or we'll have to say the band. The band is the first band that we kind of have to screen some of their content before we throw it up right away.
You gotta have catchy hooks, man, and some of them.
There's this beautiful scene of like this crick coming down with this lady in the crick, and I'm like,
"What is that, a crick in your neck? What's a crick?" I thought you guys
like that one more. You like
that?
that?
A brook? Don't you guys call it a brook up that far north?
Oh no,
a brook,
babbling brook,
babbling
dog. You got a dog.
It's a creek way up here. That's what it is.
And just to see the reaction of what happens when some people hear you listen to the Tim Wooten band, what it does. I got to, it's like, yep, that's not, can't put that on our show, but we love having these guys around. I'm telling you,
TikTok is a jungle, man. All right.
Yeah,
it is. And I do need to say that the Tim Wooten band just doesn't consist of Tim and Justin. There's also Derek, and then there is now I'm having a brain fart. And Jacob Lane,
yep.
And the drummer, and it's an amazing crew of guys. And there's like this eclectic piece. Each one of them is different, but they work together amazingly. I gotta say, how did you guys? Maybe I'm reaching for some information. How'd you guys come together?
Oh, well, I started writing music and I put Man in Nashville out. Just me and my producer. And then you guys hit me up and was like, hey, you want to go to Nashville? And I was like, yeah, I do. So I put out a Facebook post and I was like, I need a band. So if you play, then hit me up. Justin was the first one to hit me up. I've known Justin since I was a little kid. And
you were like that big.
So Justin's like, yeah, man, I got my buddy. He's a drummer. He's like, I'm pretty sure he'll do it. Let me ask him. He gets back to me in a couple hours. Like, yeah, we're in. And D took a little convincing to hop on the bass because D has his own solo act, but gave him enough beers and you ropey, man. You know
that and bass players are just weird, anyways, right? I mean, you know, drummers got their own thing going, but bass players, they're just weird guys.
Some of them are. D's I think he's the exception to the rule,
but
eclectic. He's maybe a little eclectic.
Eclectic. There we go.
Eclectic is the word because he's got a little pedigree behind him, right? He played on one of the music shows. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, the one that we did there on that at the resort. D did his solo act there, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
He did.
And what was the music show he was on?
D was on American Idol, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, American Idol.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, awesome. No, and you guys were just there was so much glue and melding that was happening in Nashville that week, and it was
for
just
real.
awesome having you guys there.
It was a heck of a time.
Should we just tear the Band-Aid off and get the new one, or do you want to save that for the finale?
Whatever you want to do, man.
Well, we got
however you want to roll it.
We got 3 songs lined up for you. Which you know the 3. Which one do you want first?
Let's roll Man in Nashville first. We'll do.
Right.
We'll do. Okay, go ahead. I'm done.
Is there a story behind Man in Nashville?
That was kind of like me looking at the music industry and being like, why is every time I turn on the radio, everybody sounds the freaking same? And like, what's up with that? And I don't know. Inspiration hit me one day and I just threw it together in about an hour and put it on TikTok. And that's how I ended up in contact with my producer, Zidon Studios. And he's like, I think this is a really original sounding song. He's like, I'll do this one for you for free. And then we ended up doing the video out in Savannah, Georgia.
Oh, there you go.
Awesome.
This
is Tim Wooten with Man in Nashville.
Well, anyways, I don't have time to talk about this right now. I've got a client coming in soon, so, I'm gonna have to let you go. Okay. All right, yeah, love you too. Bye, Dad. Come in.
Hey, man, am I in the right place?
Yeah, you're, Mr. Timothy Newton, right?
Yeah, Tim's fine.
Well, nice to meet you, Tim. Well, why don't you go ahead and sit on down for me? Let's talk about a few things. So, my business partners and I have reviewed your song, and we think it has a great deal of potential. But, of course, there are just a few stipulations if we're going to offer you this record deal.
Such as?
Oh, you know, just, per usual, minute details that come with this contract stuff.
Just the other day, said, boy, would you like a chance to sing? Said, boy, you don't have to write a single song. You don't have to worry about a thing. He said, son, just sign here on the dotted line, and I'll promise you riches and jewels. I said, man, I don't think that you know me very well. I ain't much for playing by the rules. He said, son, I don't think that you're gonna make it. No one's gonna like the songs you write. He said, boy, I know that you ain't gonna make it unless you sign here on this dotted line. Man in Nashville called me back the other day. He said, boy, how you change your mind? I said, actually, man, I tell you that I am. And if you listen, then I'll tell you why. When I turn on the radio, all I hear is the same old songs. I don't know when all your shit lost its soul. And I'll just tell you I do not belong. He said, son, I don't think that you're gonna make it. Right now I'm the only chance you got. He said, boy, I know that you ain't gonna make it. Just come to me, son, if you want a shot. And I said, sir, I'll tell you why I'm gonna make it. He's gotta play and catch up every day. And I said, ain't nobody need your ass to make it. Ain't nobody need y'all anyway.
I was muting everybody, unmuting everybody, and I realized Mark was muted.
Thanks, brother. We all good? We got another guest in here. I just said 30 seconds of the best things I've ever said in my life, and
all gone off for that.
Another amazing blessing with Derek here, who's part of the Tim Wooten band as well. We got 3/4 of the band, the Outlaw Band, the Tim Wooten band. It's awesome to have you guys here.
That was actually a fun fact. That was Zidon Studios' first ever music video. I'm excited for you guys to see the new one. Just to see the evolution of it, I think, is just pretty awesome.
Absolutely. You're probably tired of telling the story, Tim, but we hit Nashville pretty hard.
Oh yeah.
Did you have any unique experiences like the first night we were at the scoreboard or anything?
Oh, nothing too noteworthy. Everything went according to plan. Okay, so I ordered the hottest wings that the scoreboard had there in Nashville, and that was the beginning of what was to be a pretty eventful evening. So they get there, and they're called the Hiroshima wings. That's what they're called. And they were, what were they, ghost pepper wings? I took one big old bite, and I was like, I just started sweating. I looked at Justin. I was like, I can't do this, man. And he's over there heckling me. He's like, come on. It can't be that bad. He takes a freaking nipple up and starts crying. And I screwed up, and I touched my face. And I just immediately everything went red, and I couldn't see. I was trying to find the bathroom, and if you ever been to the scoreboard in Nashville, that place is a maze. Just to find the bathroom, they got different levels to that venue and bar. It's just where the hell is anything in here? So I finally find the bathroom, and I wash my hands to the best of my ability because I can't hardly see. My eyes are watered up, and then I start flushing my eyes, and I didn't wash them good enough, so now I can't see out of either. And we haven't gone on stage yet, mind you. So I'm mushing wet napkins in my eyes, trying to get it together. And I was finally able to get it together, and just in time for us to get up there too. So I don't think I touched anything spicy for the whole rest of that 5-day event.
Yeah.
Well, and the weird thing is later in the week, and so we're an hour, I don't know, I'm not even sure, south of Nashville at Big Vinny's Resort, Buffalo River Resort, and there is nothing up in this space, and there is except for a 24-hour Arby's, which was the primary source of sustenance for many of us when we were getting in that area around 1 and 2 every morning. Sometimes
there's a
3.
Denny's too. We
made that mistake.
Right. Hash browns.
You knew it was going to be an eventful time when we're rolling up, and D mentioned something. He's like, Denny's is for. What'd you say, D?
Denny. Fuck.
No. Denny's is Waffle House for people that can't fight.
It was the worst. I can't remember what exit that was off of, but don't hit up a truck stop Denny's. I'll tell you that. That's a precautionary tale right there.
Rough with 2 F's.
That's right.
And at the time, Arby's was running a special on some pepper sandwich there as well. And it was like the nuclear kill you challenge. And I thought I was going to try that the last night. And it was,
too hot?
It was a moment. It's like when you go to a restaurant, most of the time their hot is not the hot that you would like. Right now, I believe Popeyes is doing a scorpion pepper chicken wing. And so I try that, and it's barely a hot wing. So I don't know what the equation is in the world of eating hot food. I did take Andrea and the Kellers to a Nashville hot chicken restaurant before Tin Roof, and it was too hot.
I love the idea of Nashville hot because like there's no flavor. It's just hot for no fucking reason.
Right. Just drinking hot roof tar, and oh, there's chicken. There's chicken in here. Yes, they can put that on cardboard, and you wouldn't know the difference.
That's very true.
It applies to girls too. Nashville hot, not so much.
Wow. It's like pizza. It's still good cold.
This is where that outlaw band gets us in trouble. That's what we got to.
A little bit.
That's why Andrea hit it on out.
Gotta live a little.
As long as it stays like pizza and it's good, it's still good the next morning. You know what I mean?
It's funny when Andrea pipes in and pipes out. That's the funny part. And
it is.
Normally she's the pot stirrer and she gets everyone going. And then it's like, what? Me, innocent little me? I didn't do anything. Yeah, right. Okay. She can talk from behind the scenes right now.
Said no woman ever.
Right. Military Mike Madsen.
Yes, sir.
We've it took us a minute to get a conversation to happen, and you do everything. You're the VSO down there. You help work with Operation Rally Point. You help work with the American Legion Post 233.
I do.
You run Foxhole Internet Radio Network.
I do.
You are a former chief warrant officer for the Army.
Right.
You help work with the Valkyrie Initiative. You're the founder of Not All Is Lost Radio. Do you know when to stop?
I also do the Hungry Prepper and the Do a Set for a Vet series.
Yes. And something about Secret Squirrel at General Dynamics Technologies.
Well, that and my podcast is doing real well. The World According to Military Mike, so I can't complain.
Yeah. So do you have special Wheaties that you eat, or what gets us?
No, it's you know what it is? You guys are going to laugh. You guys are all younger than me, so you may not understand this, but when you get to 58 and you've been dumped by attractive women as much as me, God, you got a lot of extra time on your hands. I've got money. I've got a house. I've got a.
He's got the Woody Harrelson crying.
So I'll wipe my tears with these hundreds, man.
Yeah.
I got 2 pit bulls that live with me. I'm a happy guy. I work 7 days a week. What can I say?
What's more work, the pit bulls or your former lady friend?
Well, I got to be honest with you. The pit bulls kind of they let me stay here.
Okay.
Yeah, they I've one pit bull. She's close to 100 pounds. She's 12, 13 years old now. I got her when I got back from Afghanistan, and she pretty much rules the roost. The other one was a rescue. About 5-6 years ago, everybody was getting a pit bull, so there was a ton of them in rescue. So I picked one up. They were going to euthanize it. So, but I tell you what, I never in a million years. I was always a German Shepherd. I owned a Belgian Malinois years ago. It's one of those things that I don't think I'll ever get away from pit bulls now. They're the most lovable dogs. They have so much character about them. But they do run the show. Now, let me tell you something. 3 o'clock in the morning, Acelia, she wants to go outside. She'll put her paw on me and go, hey, get up.
It's time, human. Let's go. So, what are you working on right now?
I think, of course, this industry in internet radio, when I got started in it, was you had to explain it to everyone, the difference between terrestrial radio and internet radio. And, you know, the radio business is different than the performers. Radio business it's like a marketing company or an advertising agency type thing, really. But you have a love for music. And so the brother that's right above me, he's been a guitarist for years and years and years and years. And like when we were in high school, I was always working the board for him. I played bass and stuff like that in a little side band, you know, that we'd warm up, get everything going, sound checks, all that kind of stuff. So I've been in music for my whole life, but unfortunately doing just short of 31 years in the military, you don't, you know, you're not going to get established with a band, because as soon as you guys practice the third time, somebody's, you know, leaving, somebody's PCSing somewhere else. But I kind of stayed in music, and I kind of stayed in the radio business by doing voiceovers. And I used to do a lot of impressions. I did a ton of impressions for AFN, Armed Forces Network. And so when I got out, I was the corporate guy for a nonprofit called Freedom Outdoor Adventures. And a local station did an interview with me, and they asked me to stay on. And before I knew it, I was doing 5 morning shows and 2 evening shows with Just for Fun Radio. And they wanted to stay local, and I wanted to go more global, and I wanted to have a specific niche in the market there. And so I started before COVID, I had 12 stations. And I had vintage rock, I had 80s station, the Not All Is Lost station, our Christian station is still going strong, listeners all over the world. Valkyrie Radio obviously is attached to the Valkyrie Initiative in Birmingham, Alabama. That's where we met D-Rock and all of those folks on that album. I've been lucky enough to, you know, just kind of be in the business. I've got a perfect face for radio, so I'm not a good-looking guy, and I'm damn sure not talented in any of this stuff. So I'm behind the scenes, and that's where you get to meet everybody and stuff like that. You know, performers, you guys have a specific God-given ability. You know, you guys can get out in front of people, and you guys can perform. You know, and entertain people. Where for me, it's kind of like my performance is backstage. My performance is in the studio. My performance is negotiating with people and coordinating things and marketing advertisement that goes along with the music industry.
We couldn't do what we do without people like you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, you know, in the military for many years, I used to tell people, they'd ask me what I do, and I used to always explain to them. For about 14 of those years, I flew attack helicopters. And people would go, "Oh, wow, that's the coolest thing in the world." And I go, "Yeah, but you know, for every guy that's in a cockpit, there's 10 people supporting us, you know." And then in special operations, we used to always say for every one guy, there was probably 100 people that were supporting us. And it's the difference between operators and administrators. You got to have both. You can't have one without the other. And you know, we call the people that run stations and stuff like that, we refer to you guys as the content. You know, you're the reason why the whole thing exists. But gosh, I couldn't get in front of it. But let me tell you something. I do have a sexy voice, just in case anybody's wondering. And I can belt out some Amazing Grace, but I ain't doing it on stage. So that's what caused me to do it. I've been very lucky financially to pursue a lot of this nonprofit work. Being a VSO is, I'm not going to say it's a rewarding job. Most people, you know, they're done after 2 years of being a veteran service officer, and I'm going on year 6, and it's 35 plus appointments a month, 200, maybe 300 phone calls a month. I live with my phones, and I tell you, I have one whole day. Thursdays are set aside for nothing but Zoom calls. I have clients all over the country. Wednesdays, I'm at Operation Rally Point, which I know you know those guys. And now we're starting to do stuff with motorcycle groups. There's a lot of veteran-based motorcycle groups, and motorcycle groups love the veterans. So, hey, man, we're getting everybody involved. I'm going to eventually get every veteran I know in a room together, and we're going to change the world. So it's
I love these words, and me and Michael have had a lot of conversations. I'm sure we're gonna have a lot more. So tear the Band-Aid off. I mean, there's no secret or surprise. We've been saying we're getting ready to move WeP3 Radio. WeP3 Radio is not currently operating. We had a kind of a transition in personnel and in the People's Patriot Project and the person that was running that program, and that's fine. No one left on bad terms. It was just a piece that happened, and I reached out to Mr. Madsen here, and I said, would you guys be interested in showing or putting out there on Foxhole Radio Network? And when he heard the number of veteran and first responder musicians we had, he's like, "Oh, I don't have that content." So
I think I'm honest, Mark, too, and I continue my research. I'm here to tell you, we're really going to be the only person doing it. I mean, I know H over at Military Broadcast Radio, and we're going to be airing my podcast over there. But as far as being nothing but veteran and first responding performers, this is like the only station in the world that's going to be doing this. That's going to be big. That's going to be huge.
A pretty prideful piece to carry too. I'm going to say and we don't get to do it without, again. So here's that full circle we were talking about. These guys. We don't get to do it without these guys.
Yeah, we got to have these guys.
There's a value in building the relationship and saying, "Hey guys, you want to come down to Nashville and put your talent out there?" And they did, and we're excited for it. And that fostered into other relationships that are now taking them to South Carolina and to that space. And again, I don't take ownership of any of that. I take ownership of taking the time to build a relationship. And kind of weirdly and oddly enough, that is also the piece that makes what I feel our mission with helping veterans and first responders with their social emotional disorders and then the stuff that they're dealing with. We're willing to build that relationship to help walk and talk through all those pieces. And that's what makes our nonprofit successful. Justin is a licensed therapist. We've had conversations about having him being involved and doing things with us and setting up programming. And that was just kind of a, I don't know, not a fluke, because the weird part is just, and again, we're seeing connections happening here tonight. Right off the bat, Michael wants to steal our bands and go put them on his radio. And that's exactly the way it's supposed to work. For the record, there's zero. That's why we put them on the stages down in Nashville. We wanted to give them the exposure. We wanted to give people the chance to see and hear. And that's where this is going to all be successful in helping people and in all networks. And a lot of times we are focused on veterans and first responders, but while we're sitting there and having conversations, we have Sal Gonzalez in our showdown when we're down there, and a young lady who was a wait staff at Scoreboard comes up and shares the story about how her friend just committed suicide. And then we were able to mentor and minister to her. And then Malachi, who played with us down there, we can't get him in on Sundays because he's dedicated Sundays to his family, which is absolutely the right thing to do. But he has a chance to take her to the side, and he's got a whole mission that helps with the trauma after suicide. And we're here to help everybody, but we're focusing on our veterans and first responders. And it's just awesome to have this network building, growing, and doing more. And I get butthurt every once in a while when I see these people, my friends, playing with other people. You know how that works. But these are my friends. Don't. And that's me and Andrea do have that conversation on occasion, and she's like, "Go put your pull-ups back on, Peterson, and go do what you got to do." I'm like, all right. I storm off. He usually gives me a little cookie, and then everything's better. So exciting. And we've kind of touched on all the pieces, but I don't think we're done yet. We got a couple more songs to get through. It is a little different. We don't have Andrea in here for the banter, but that's all right. Any new songs that we're getting ready to do, guys?
We still have Missouri Throwdown, as well as the new single out is Country Girl. It's out everywhere. It's everywhere that streams, and the official videos on YouTube. I'll let you pick whichever you'd like to do.
Well, let's do Throwdown, and then we'll grand finale the Country Girl.
Sure.
I do want to say Edwin Dunn is in here, and we've seen a couple comments from him. He runs your guys' production company, doesn't he?
Yeah, he is Zidon Studios for the most part. Yep.
Okay. He did reach out to me this last week, and
he does fantastic work.
Edwin, thanks for reaching out. The account you reached out to me is actually saturated full, and so I've got to move some stuff around. I know I'm a very popular guy, so that happens, and so we'll get you in the network, brother. And that skill set that you have could be very beneficial to many of the performers that we have in the WeP3 network, and just excited to have you on board, brother. So back to, I've got a new setup, so it takes me a couple of minutes, so I'm stalling. Tell me about this next song.
Missouri Throwdown. It's a little more on the heavier side, but it's kind of a showcase of what we're about out here. As much as you can squeeze into like 3 minutes, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Are you sure about that?
This is the Tim Newton Band with Missouri Throwdown.
In Nashville. Mark's heard it a million times.
Yeah, dead air.
Stand by.
Way up high, blow that smoke
Missouri Throwdown. You guys put a little pep in the step in this stuff.
Try to.
You like it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Hit you right there.
It's
right in the feelers.
Blood pumping a little bit there.
Like to have fun.
I'm stuttering. Here's the boys at Tin Roof in Nashville.
Is it the wind?
Man, that's an unflattering photo of me.
I mean, I'm staring at you. So,
are there even strings? Are there even strings on that bass? I mean, aren't you supposed to be there for a reason? I mean,
right?
I do have to. I don't know what the right word is. I got to experience something more than, when I say the group got to experience something more than any of the crowds got to experience because when we would get done playing at the event, we would go back to the resort and they would jam until 4 or 5 in the morning. And I'm going to tell you, after 5 days, the funny part was, as we were doing the red carpet at the Grand Ole Opry, I'm talking with Mr. Goldman of the Oak Ridge Boys, and I'm like, how do you do this day in and day out? And because we're 5 days and we had people falling. I mean, voices were gone. People were wrecking. I mean, not literally wrecking, but figuratively wrecking. The best part of the event actually was being back at the resort, listening to everyone jam.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That group that come down from Michigan, that bluegrass group, those Gitchell boys, they are some of the most class act musicians I think I've ever met, and they could sit there and jam probably nonstop until they died.
I honestly didn't meet a single act that wasn't a class act while I was down.
That's true. It's very true.
It was awesome.
I want to say,
especially dealing with.
I didn't make it.
Especially dealing with our drunk asses all the whole time. So
you don't have to worry about that. Yeah,
outlaw country.
You can't be an outlaw country band if you're not outlaw, right?
Right.
How many bars were we kicked out of?
Two in a 5-day show.
None. For the record, as a group, no one was kicked out of any bar as a group.
Fair enough.
The Tim Newton band was kicked out of 2 bars.
I'll take technicality.
Only individuals. Maybe one individual at scoreboard and maybe one individual at tin room. And it is what it is. It's...
Where we go one, we go all, damn it, Mark.
Persistence is key.
Well, what's weird was, and I will say, again, I don't think it's an integrity piece. I don't think it was a misunderstanding piece on both events. And I'm sitting there doing cleanup, and the problem was there was nobody who was even willing to listen. And I'm like, I got this. I got my stuff together. We'll take care of it. And they just wouldn't listen. And that's okay. That's life. They do their thing. We do our thing. Life is good. And what do you do? We had a blast.
It was fun regardless.
Absolutely.
I would say if you go to the tin roof, you may, or not the tin roof, if you go to the scoreboard, you may or may not receive good service, is all I'm saying. You might be standing there for an hour and a half waiting on a waitress or someone to come over there, and whenever you say something about it, they might tell you to leave.
It is what it is. And we know that the management there is ran by a Marine veteran, Derek, and we think all the things that he does and it will set us up in the future. And we'll
everything was made right, so
we'll get those things taken care of. That's just miscommunication, misunderstandings. That's again, there was nothing that happened and I'm sorry, I'm the kind of the guy that ends at me saying whatever I say. There was nothing that happened that I don't think was something that wasn't a thing of concern. If there was a concern, I would have had a conversation with someone. But
I agree.
Yeah,
we're good.
Regardless, outlaw country.
Outlaw country.
I felt like that was a good time to drop that too.
Now I gotta send you the picture of Shirlene, man. I gotta do it.
It was great.
Military Mike, what's next for you, brother?
Let's see. Talking with H over at Military Broadcast Radio, he wanted to make sure that I told you that he's not poaching one of your DJs. But I'm going to be doing more The World According to Military Mike. I was on the Anchor platform, and then Spotify bought Anchor. And now I've got to go through the whole thing of monetizing again. It's kind of a nightmare. So I'm going to be working with that. And then what I'd like to do, is get more involved, obviously, with you with WeP3 Radio, and then be able to go through that database and ask folks like Tim and his band to do a set for a vet. It's on the Stage It platform. It's an online platform. Stage It is, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's absolutely amazing. It's the coolest thing in the world to see the name of your band, running along the advertisements for Stage It. And they have like 11 million unique visitors every month on their website. But if you catch it on the right days, it's like you're next to, Uncle Ted or Joan Jett. And it's a fantastic feeling. And it all goes to a good cause and stuff like that. We have a lot of places that we push it out and junk like that. We have a lot of dedicated listeners there. I think the big thing is Operation Rally Point has been talking to me about kind of taking on a little bit more active role in their social media marketing and stuff like that. So my company will probably be doing that. I've been doing some stuff with AI as far as utilizing it for SEO in advertising acts and advertising the radio stations, writing the scripts. So we're going to be working on that. We do a lot of video editing, and we're trying to figure out how to. There's a way to take your image and then have you read off a couple of words, and then we run it through AI, and we can basically have your voice, your likeness, and everything say anything that we script. And so it's a little glitchy right now, but we're fine tuning it. Well, what it does is if used correctly, let's say, Tim, you guys were, you were doing like an interview or something like this, but you had to have a commercial running somewhere else. You see what I'm saying is we can grab this and take the new stuff you're talking about, your new song you just released, and establish a 30-second to a 1-minute promo. And
oh man, that is
in the time that we're talking right here.
That's cool.
It could be engineered and be running somewhere else as well, hopefully drawing traffic back to conversations like this that are live.
That is genius. We've also used it for SEO purposes as well, but I didn't really think about that kind of capabilities. That's pretty. That's outstanding.
Well, we're using it for some of our Google ad programs, and it's. The Hungry Prepper it's basically me and a couple other folks, and we do reviews on like prepping foods and stuff like that. We haven't published any of the videos yet because we wanted to have a stockpile of them before we went live with it. But we're finding all sorts of ways of using the Google ad programs through AI. It's almost spooky at a time, but the whole point obviously is to find where you fit into all of this as far as your music and where do you want to play? Do you want to keep playing? There's a lot of folks that just, I've known a lot of studio people, the drummer for, Sugarloaf Parkway and all that. I mean, he doesn't really want to do live. He wants to do studio. Johnny B. Good from Black Oak, Arkansas, that, you know, these guys are getting way up there now. They're 70 years old, you know, and man, we can recreate their voices with AI, and we can remaster some of their songs and stuff like that. It's absolutely amazing. So
you know, be concerned with AI as a whole.
Well, I'm not Elon Musk, so if I was, I wouldn't be talking to you guys. Yeah, no. He says we should be, but I'm not that smart. I'm, like I said, I'm damn
I think
good
it's going to bring in a new age, man. It's just going to expand everything out. Now it's going to have its drawbacks, but for the most part, it's going to advance humanity. I really think it will.
Look, I was watching a little clip on it, and they were talking about how they're going to use it for driverless cars, and AI had already made the suggestion that a driverless car doesn't need to have a front of a car and the back of a car. So a driverless car can pull into your driveway, you can get in it, and it can back right out and go along its way. And you sit there and you think about it, and you go, "Wow, AI thought of that, and I never did." That's ridiculous. You know, so
it wouldn't be backing out. It would just be.
It wouldn't be backing out. It's just
you're always moving forward.
Yeah,
yeah.
And you're sitting there and you're scratching your head going, why did anybody think about that? I mean, so it's stuff like that I think is going to be interesting. My two boys, I think, Mark, I told you this. My two sons. I have a daughter, but she's mean as a snake, and I try not to talk about her because she'll find out and she'll beat me up. But my two sons, you know, when they were growing up, they said, "Oh, Dad, we're going to play video games." And I patted them on the head like any good father does and goes, "Sure you are. Sure you are." And now the oldest one has 2 degrees. The youngest one's working on his first degree. And basically they design, the oldest one is a design engineer for the controllers. And the younger one is a production manager. And, you know, these companies sponsor gamers, professional gamers. And so when their equipment comes back, the youngest one diagnoses it, fine tunes it, and sends it back to these gamers. And so it's really crazy to hear these guys talking about AI. And it's like, you know, it's going to kill the gaming industry. And if you think about it,
to be honest with you, though, they said that about the gasoline engine. They said that, you know what I mean?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It's definitely a recalibration.
Yeah, man. It's absolutely. Look, I have everything, man. The company they work for, I've got I've got freaking mouses that light up and have 18 buttons on it. My mouse pad lights up and coordinates the lighting with my mouse and my keyboard. I've got every known controller from this company that they work for. I'm not allowed to say the name. Sorry, guys. Just tons of this equipment. And they're like, AI and VR is going to take over the whole industry. I've got Oculus 2 glasses. I get on there. My fat ass gets out there in boxes and stuff like that. But so, you know, I think it's going to make it better myself. I'm kind of digging it. Now, you can't, you know, if you write something in AI and then you put it back in AI and say, "Did you write this?" It can't lie. It'll say yes. So there's even ways around that. You can take it out and you can put it in syllabus, from syllabus to Grammarly, and then run it back through AI, and it'll say, "I didn't write it." So they're already, you know.
And they're coming up with stuff. And it's been a nightmare for me as an educator for the last year.
I can imagine, man.
There's straight up, I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, you did not write this. But there's nothing. There's nothing. It's better. I'd rather have the cut and paste, which is 90% of those who choose not to do
That's how my homework was.
Cut and paste. You know, I'm going to my 43rd, you know, high school reunion this summer. Yeah, we didn't have cut and paste when I was in high school. Well, we did, but we got to eat the glue. So,
the funny part is, in my world, I had the student cut and paste, and it was talking about in pounds, in money, because I'm doing an economics class, and all of a sudden pounds is, and I'm like, really, you did this paper, huh? I'm like, when was the last time you visited Britain? because we don't use. There's no way you did this. And it's funny stuff, but it concerns me. But here's the reality, in my opinion. This is an opinion. Doctors are going to do doctor things, and dentists are going to do dentist things, and engineers are going to do engineer things. Will some slip through the crack? Yes, but I'm pretty confident there's never going to be a time where if someone lets an AI platform write their paper for them, I'm pretty confident I'm never going to have to worry about waking up to someone doing brain surgery on me that is taking those paths, because they're going to get caught eventually. So I do have that conversation regularly with people in our industry and saying, you know what? Doctors are going to do doctor stuff. Rocket scientists are going to do they're not going to advance as a rocket scientist because they do a paper on AI. They're not. They've actually have to applicably put something forward, and doing all those pieces, doing AI is not going to get them there.
I remember when they first started editing music at different locations. Like you'd go into a studio and dap it out, and then send the actual tape to another studio, and they'd add somebody else to it. I remember when they were doing that, and that was supposed to change the music industry. And then when everything started going digital and everything else, I mean, internet
in the music world. Yeah, my concern in the music world is that they're saying that it'll be like, listen, Michael Jackson can bring up his old stuff, and they'll be able to do that. Prince will be able to, do. And I'm like, yeah, that's not the same thing. But we'll figure it out.
I think it'll let musicians be in the business a lot longer. That's the way I like to look at it.
Sure.
And being a baby boomer, I'm the first year of the baby boomers there, 1964. I mean, music was such a part of our lives. I mean, in the late 60s, you didn't do anything. We had music playing during dinner. Because my dad refused to watch the news and watch Vietnam, so we had music playing in the background. We still, my oldest brother and myself, we still have the albums that my parents had, Elvis Presley, stuff like that. So I think with AI, I think being able to keep it alive and to keep it creative and interesting, I think the entertainers themselves will be able to way outlast what was going on before.
The crazy fun part, and you just mentioned the album piece, is that still has a huge following in our country. We had a young man that went to Nashville with us. His name was Sean Keller. The first time I met him, he pulls out a phonograph with his vinyl and wants to play, and he's like, in Led Zeppelin, you can only hear this on the album. You can't hear this in any of their digital music. And I was just like, and if you get a chance to hear Sean Keller play, take that time to do that. The kid is a pretty phenomenal artist in what he does. So
the only thing about vinyl, I got to tell you this, the only thing about vinyl is that if it's damaged, it ain't coming back.
No, there's some truth to that.
And gosh, the vinyl that they were using back then is nothing like the vinyl used today. It chips, it cracks, it wears, everything. So we don't play those albums that we have. They're locked up and sealed up. And I've got grandkids now, so hopefully some of it be turned over to them, and maybe one day they'll figure out a way to get back into it. But digital is digital, and if it's digital, it can be manipulated.
Absolutely. I would say what's next for Tim Newton Band. You guys have already kind of explained you're going on tour. You're going to go down south and rock around the South Carolina area. Anything else on the docket to get done?
I mean, we're going to keep recording and releasing stuff. We're going to try to actually put together a music video with compilation from the tour for one of these songs as well. We're going to see if we can make that happen. But yeah, we got a lot of stuff in the works, and we're looking forward to hitting South Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina, and just working our way pretty much till we head back home. And we're gonna keep doing what we do, and we appreciate you for having us on. And it's awesome to be able to talk to you, Mike and John.
Hire a drone operator for your concert footage.
Idea.
Man, outside drone footage is the best to work with, man. It is awesome. And when you guys are up on stage and you see the drones really act out it comes out great, man. It's beautiful stuff.
That's cool.
That is a great idea.
Stuff. And you can find veterans that'll probably come out there and videotape it for free. And you know what? It comes out on a freaking memory stick about that dang big. Yeah, man. And then turn that over to your I see Edwin just said my next purchase. That's kind of where I went when I can't fly anymore. I went to drones, and so I've got a Phantom 3, and then I've got another one called a DJI Teleo that I use for the little stuff around here. And the drone footage is just, man, that just adds a great element to it. It really does.
The DJI, if you go get a chance to look at their stuff, they actually did the Porsche commercial, and it's an amazing device.
It's so
that's
fun,
the one that's on my ticket to get. I don't know. We'll Derek Dankenbring. Did I say that right?
Yeah, it's surprisingly enough, dude. Nobody ever does.
I just want to give you a quick shout out because you do have a kind of a solo career out there in the world. How can people get to your music and hear it?
Nothing right now. I've kind of taken everything down. I'm in a revamping phase.
Okay.
So I am I'm basically tearing the old tower down and building a new one.
Okay,
so
fair enough.
That's and the showcase for that, I guess, will be opening act for us. So yeah, so that'll be the kind of premiere of it, and then I'll sit down whenever I have time in between everything and start recording and getting everything back out there again. So
awesome.
That's kind of where I'm sitting on that. But
well, I think we could keep the conversation going in 1.5 billion ways. This is one of the shorter shows we've done in a long time. I think last week's show was a 2-hour show, and we didn't even touch all the pieces that we needed to get done. And it was an amazing show. This is an amazing show. But we got the one song we're going to play, and we'll probably head off out of that. Jonathan, you got anything in closing?
I know Tim gave us a rough outline of what the song Man in Nashville was about. And it just made me think, you don't have to sell out who you are so that you can be somebody else. Be you. It's the most simple, the most unique thing you can be. And it's the most rewarding in the end as well.
I don't know if it's a time and place. Go ahead. What did you say, Tim?
I said that was well said.
Yeah. I don't know if this is a time and place, but it was interesting, even with our little tiny event of the Nashville takeover. It was interesting to find the people that would swarm around and I don't know, they were in it for their own, and I will stay steadfast. This is about we. I hope and I know that Tim Newton and the Tim Newton Band is going to go take care of them. And what the People's Patriot Project does is take care of and promote as much as we can. And I think there's an understanding in that relationship. But it was just some of the behind-the-scenes stuff that we were dealing with is just like, really?
So, honestly, how that played out, we played Man in Nashville live every night. But we actually played Man in Nashville live to one of those types that's described in Man in Nashville, more or less. And I think that was more of the icing on the cake. And, for legal reasons, we won't mention names, but that guy knew the whole time. Like I'm making eye contact. I'm like you're a POS, man, and you freaking know it. And
it was interesting. And there's oddly enough, there's still a little bit of fallout that we deal with, and it's like it's not a competition. It's not a battle. This is a mission moving forward, and this is what we're going to constantly do. You can either be part of it or not be part of it. That's your choice. And we're okay with it. We're not here to break or shatter any dreams. We're here to promote people. And we love your music. We love having you in the network. We love all the things that we've been able to experience because of you guys. And we don't stop short of giving you guys full credit for everything that we've got to do. So thank you for everything. Thanks for being part of what we've been doing. We appreciate
Thank you guys for inviting us in. I mean,
Right.
really, it's been a fulfilling experience.
It goes
really has.
both ways, you know.
It's that circle we were talking about, isn't it?
It's a circle of life.
Still a new single, original, a new original tune coming out tonight.
I think that one's taken. That might be a little bit bigger platform than we are. Timmy, you got anything in closing, brother?
Once again, I want to thank y'all for having us here. It's an honor every single time. Just giving us a little bit more of a platform to put what we do to the world, and absolutely appreciate the opportunity. And I hope you guys like this new single we dropped, Country Girl. It's streaming everywhere that streams. We're doing all we can to promote the heck out of it. And I think the video turned out pretty crisp the way that it did. There were some hiccups here and there, but overall, Edwin and Zidon Studios made it happen.
Yep.
And I want to thank everybody involved, and I hope everybody likes it, man.
Justin, anything in closing, brother?
No, just before we see the video, that it was first off, we filmed that on St. Patrick's Day. So, going into it was great, and we had to change plans real quick. So all of us are freezing cold during the filming.
Some poor turkey hunters out there in a blind and just wondered where the drums are coming from.
right in the middle of the woods playing.
Been out here all day.
Hey.
Oh my goodness. Mr. Madsen, anything in closing, brother?
Nah, I'm always here, man. If I'm not in front of you, I'm behind you somewhere in the shadows.
That might have been the creepiest thing I've heard on the show yet, but that's okay.
That's why I say it.
I'm trying to figure out whether I should be motivated or scared.
Yeah,
I'll run faster either way for sure.
Kind of edgy either way.
Derek, thanks for coming on, brother. You got anything?
Not much, man. I appreciate the opportunity, and I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate everything you all do. I really do. I'm glad to be part of the experience.
And just real quick, wanted to do a shout out to Jacob Hill. We reached out to him, but he was unable to make it tonight. He's another member of the Tim Newton band. He's the drummer, and we love having Jacob around too. And what an amazing side mission that we had in a connection with him and a local first responder in his area, and him bringing on. It was just an amazing show there as well. Hey, our mission doesn't stop with just the show. We got your 6 at 6. Make sure each of you take time to reach out to someone in your network. We ask you to do it by a 6-pack. It takes roughly 36 seconds to do 6 text messages to say, hey, I'm just thinking about you. I have my second regret in life now. There's someone in my network of life that I had constantly initiated the, hey, what's going on? Thinking about you. And about 2 weeks ago, I was like, I'm tired of being the only one reaching out. Well, he's gone. Had some stuff, and it is what it is. And now a conversation I could have had will never happen again. So I'm very transparent in having these conversations. I guarantee you it will save lives. This particular case, it wouldn't have saved his life, but it would have. I would have been able to have at least a closing conversation in him and his life. But make sure you're reaching out to your brothers and sisters. If you think they're strong, reach out to them. That's an amazing piece that happens with the WeP3 network. We all get to send messages and just checking in on each other and making sure everyone's okay and in their place and has the space that they need to have at the same time. So make sure you're doing that. show's not the same without Andrea. I know she's taking care of and finishing up the finalities of a wedding weekend. And so take care, Andrea, and we will have you back next week. I do know that we will be up north here in Minnesota, a little bit north than you guys, for a Wounded Warriors guide service, not the Wounded Warriors, but Wounded Warriors guide service program that they invited us to come and do fishing with them. And next week's guest is Jason Steiner and Brandon Johnson. And we're excited to have them on the show as well. Come check us out. You'll see us every Monday at 4:30 or 16:30 for our weekly WeP3 debrief. And then every Sunday at 1800 Central Daylight Time with We Got Your 6 at 6 Patriot Playtime. We got the Tim Newton Band here with their final song of the night, Country Girl. This is their debut video and song. Thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for being here, Mr. Madsen. We'll get that WeP3 radio up and rolling so we can hear more Country Girl here in the next week or so. Again, we'll check you out when the smoke clears. Patriot Pride.
See you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.